evening, Friday Fiver family. This is Nazarek on the left. On the right, we have...
Oh my God, this is Mark!
EOD Janks, ladies and gentlemen, pinkies up. Here we go.
We have a special guest tonight, hailing all the way from the middle of the screen. We have Mr. Gridan.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. This has been an absolute blast so far. This has been really fun getting to know you guys a little bit more. So thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. I know the Raider fam's happy to have you.
Yeah. No, you guys are flattering. This is I'm not anybody here. I'm just showed up. I appreciate you guys having me on. So
we see that you go and put time into your content, and you got your followers, and you're paying attention to your brand. So what you give us, we take it as a gift. So hey, thanks.
Yeah. Oh, and you guys are putting out awesome stuff. I've loved and enjoyed your guys' content. So,
well, you get in what you put out, and frankly, I put in whiskey, and we see what happens.
That's all I want to hear about you saying about In and Out.
Well, it's not like the prom dress. I mean, it's definitely not off like it. So Grid, we're so happy to have you tonight. It's been a pleasure watching you for these last, I've been with the game since 2017. Mm-hmm. Around the time I got injured and came back from Afghanistan, it's just been a joy watching all the content creators and everything. And it's nice to know that, Naz and I are getting noticed by some of the guys, whether or not, there's likes and subscribes down at the bottom. That's a different thing, but it's just nice to know that we're getting seen and viewed. I know I watch pretty much everybody. I know Naz, I send him a link to just about everything I watch. So thank you again.
Yeah, no, I mean, that really means a lot to hear. I genuinely mean it. You guys have been very kind. Sometimes people will be like, hey man, thanks for your stuff. Like, do you want to do a video? And it's very kind of quick. And I don't expect anything ever. It's something I like to point out when it happens because it's very kind. I don't think I'm doing really anything special. So when you guys say stuff like that, it really means a lot. So thank you. I appreciate that. And it's been really interesting. I've been doing full-time content creation now for about 2.5 years. It's been really interesting with Swigo to see, a lot of these content creators, come and go. People who I watched and learned from their videos. I then started making videos, and those people have stopped making videos, and they've, moved on and a different place in their life and whatnot. And it's really interesting to see how the game has changed, and how the content creation around it has changed, and people have come and gone. It's been a fun little journey, that's for sure.
What are some of the biggest things you've seen since the game's changed? Or what do you think has been the big evolutions or changes?
In terms of Swigo, stuff joining the game, or just sort of in general, with the community?
If you've taken a look at the timeline of the whole game, what were some points where you said, okay, here it made a turn?
Yeah, there's definitely a few that stand out for sure. At the very beginning of the game, and this is for people who may not have known, but at the beginning of the game, there were no mods. There was no protection. There wasn't even protection. It was just health. There was no guilds. There were no raids.
So you're saying they didn't use any protection?
None. Not a bit of it. Not a bit of it.
It wasn't laying on the floor when they got done.
So big things like that, the addition of mods, that was obviously, I think the biggest ones that I remember, ones that stand out the most, definitely guilds. As soon as they announced guilds, that was huge because all of a sudden you went from, I remember that was one of the first times I started taking the game a bit more seriously, because all of a sudden you're oh, okay, so instead of just playing squad arena for fun, I'm now interacting with people. I have a team. I have to do my part and expect other people to do their part as well. And I remember that being one of the first times I started taking the game a bit more seriously. I hit the forums and tried to join a guild, and they denied me.
No soup for you.
Yeah, we're no, we don't. You kind of suck. And I was okay. So I made my own. And I made my own alliance. And I was screw you guys. And I made my own thing, and I made my own guild. And that was really fun. That was a crazy experience. So that was a really huge one. Mods. Oh my God. When mods first came out, for people who lived through that, mods 1.0 was horrible. There's actually a pre-version of mods that came out. Yeah. And I actually have one mod that has survived through the mod purge, because basically what happens, they brought out mods and they were horrible. I mean, we're talking you had a speed arrow with speed secondaries. You had protection primaries that were you were getting getting 20 to 30% protection secondaries. You were getting 40% offense or something like crazy. Like the numbers were insane because back then people like the max gear level was like, I think 11 or 10, and people were hitting for like 60K at gear 10 and gear 11 because of how insane the mods were. And so everybody was like, whoa, well, can we got to back off a little bit. And they actually pulled them. They deleted all of the mods, but some made it through. You can find a couple ones. So I actually have one mod. I think it's a cross, but it's a health primary with a health percentage secondary, which they got rid of. You can't have the same percentage as a secondary. So you can't have like a potency cross with a potency percent secondary. They don't double up on the percentages anymore. That's one of the things that they changed. So you can't have those stats double up, but they missed one.
Now you've talked about it.
They'll probably find it.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of fun. Little stuff like that. Mods were big. Gear 13. Oh my God. Relics were huge when that first came out. Of course, that changed everything.
I remember that one. That was
Grand Arena. When Grand Arena first came out, Territory Wars, this idea of being able to like, because I think first was Territory Battles. First was raids and then it was Territory Battles. And you're like, oh, cool. We got to do this another thing as a guild. And then they had Territory Wars and you're like, cool. We got to fight other guilds. And then Grand Arena, you got to fight all these people. And so, yeah, there's been a lot of really big changes. Very confidently, this is just not the same game that launched. It is developed and changed as frankly it should, to the point of this is fundamentally a very different game than when it came out.
So there's a quality of life thing that I was thinking of. Wouldn't it make more sense if they went and took the mods and just made them, instead of having, you got to take it to level 3, you got to take it to level 9, 12, just make it so it's just those bumps. Because everything in between doesn't make any sense.
Frankly, yeah. I mean, honestly, you could even you could get rid of all those in between levels and just level it back to, because it goes what, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean,
do
really
5 levels and
just do 5 levels. Frankly, that makes more sense. I don't know why
it's
it's
psychology of, I have a level 15 mod.
Yeah. I mean, when you phrase it that way, I'm not sure why it has to be level 15, because even if the money, like even if the credits were the same, it wouldn't change anything. You just level up 5 times instead of 15. So yeah, makes sense to me.
So let's say that, okay, if they had to do a retro and they went back and they said, okay, well, you're at a level 2, they just bumped it up to 3. I don't think that would be a huge game changer for all mods in place. Yeah. Maybe towards the other end, but I still don't think credits are a big enough change to the game that would kill the game by doing this.
I think it's it's definitely a quality of life thing that I'd be fine with, and I don't think they'd really do anything with it. They are doing all the mod management right now. Like, we know that's what they were talking about. That's their sort of next phase, is making sure that mod management
utils, and they're trying to put it into the game.
Yeah, they're basically taking out utils and slapping their name on it and putting it in the game. And so, I mean, maybe they'll make some changes. Maybe that'll show up. I think it'll be interesting to see what they actually do with some of these mods, because mods been around for like 5 years now, and not a whole lot changes to it. 5 years, 4 years. I can't remember.
I started in 2018. They were there when I started.
I hope they make a lot of changes with some of the mods, but at the same time, it's almost, I don't want to dive into this too much, so maybe we'll just skip the whole topic, but mods lost a little bit of value with the introduction with datacrons, of course. And so it's kind of weird that the following of datacrons, their next big update is mods, because datacrons made mods less valuable. So it's like, all right, so now that they're less valuable, we'll work on them.
well, hang on now. I've gone into Squad Arena and GAC a handful of times. I'm not one to shy away from the fact that I had Pimpo, the Godfather, the mod father rather, do a deep dive on my account probably a month and a half ago.
Nice.
Just before datacrons came out. When he did, I was climbing steadily in my squad, but now people are throwing on their Kenobis on GAC, and I'm like, bring it. Because my Kenobi team is cleaning up steadily on theirs, and they think where they're going to get a hold, I'm able to smoke right through it.
Yeah, I don't want to confuse that. I do mean very specifically the term that mods lost a little bit of value. I do mean that very specifically, because mods are still valuable. They do still make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I'm definitely with you on that. It took the mod father to make sure I was going to be all right.
But yeah, no, mods are still hugely important. I do a remodding service. I go through a lot of people's accounts, and when they talk about something not working, I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, this isn't the mods for it. This isn't how you do it. And I don't mean to be rude, but I guess my point in saying that is that there are a lot of people who are still figuring out mods, even though they have been in the game for a very long time. Myself included, I'm still working on, different mods and strategies and ways to mod teams and stuff. It is still valuable. I don't want people to confuse that
curve. I focus on the other 90% of the game, and then I knew that I was going to just, here you go, Pimpo. Here's a lot of shit. Turn it into a sandwich.
I
have to bleep that out.
I'll get it later. I still love when you're doing your live and people are just dropping various colorful words and you're just hitting the beep like 3 seconds afterwards and smiling like, yeah, YouTube's gonna whatever.
I love my little button. Just every once in a while.
With that, Grid, let me ask, do you feel that we should have a remod or an Omicron or a datacron? Like, if we were going to stick in that genre, should we just redo a character, or should we throw an Omicron on them, or just hope for 3 months we get the datacron to use for them?
Yeah, because I was curious. There's a lot of characters I'm looking that been out there that I think are really valuable to the canon or lore, or, they should just be better.
Yeah.
And they just haven't gotten the love, but now we start seeing Omicrons and then datacrons, anything with a cron at the end of it.
Yeah, we're gonna get a Zetacron at some point.
Oh god, give me ideas.
Yeah, hang on. Can we bleep that out too? Cut it. I think that's an interesting question, because there's a lot of ways that CG can change characters, right? There can be complete and full reworks, which they have said multiple times is generally speaking the last ditch effort. Yeah, it's cost ineffective. You have to completely redesign a character and figure out ways for them to fit back into the game, and that takes a lot of time.
We did it with Mace.
I'm very happy they did it with Mace. I think
not Ram, but my legs are his weight though.
Oh my god, dude, he's been getting ripped for that. A full rework is, I think, kind of rare these days. I think most of the time it's just kind of a touch up. Super easy example is actually Cad Bane. We can open that one up. I would love to hear you guys' opinion on it too. Cad Bane, I think, is the perfect example right now, because he's probably going to be required with Jabba. I feel like he's going to be in the Rex and probably like Relic 7. And I feel like since he's already Hutt Cartel anyways, he's probably going to get a touch up, just like Gamorrean Guard. I think they'll get a touch up, and I think touch ups are great, because it's like Cad Bane kind of sucks. He doesn't really do anything right now. His ship is good, but the actual character is not really good for a whole lot. Okay. If they touch up his kit, I think that'd be cool. Maybe it'll be a touch up. Maybe it'll be a Omicron. Maybe it'll be a Datacron. I personally
I'd like to actually see Cad get a Zeta.
Yeah. He doesn't have any Zetas.
He doesn't have a single Zeta. He's one of the original characters.
If I were to guess, I would guess Cad Bane's going to get a slight touch up. I could see him getting maybe even another ability, or switching like the stun glove, but I would like to see him get another ability and make it a flamethrower ability, and then touch up his unique that has more to do with like Hutt Cartel, and switch it up a little bit and then give him some more damage. Just like a slight rework with an Omicron, I think is kind of their bread and butter right now. Omicron solve a lot of problems. We see him doing that a lot. Night Sisters, Asajj just got hers and we're kind of like, and then boom, you got this Asajj Omicron, and that team's pretty freaking solid. And then on the flip side, you'd have somebody like Savage would be cool. Yeah. I hope they use Datacrons as a way to give love to all these other characters.
Okay, so here's a tinfoil hat on this one. Mm-hmm. It would be nice to see a Savage Omi or GAC or Territory Wars, where it was you had to take him and Maul, not regular Maul, but robot leg Maul.
Okay, Maul, not Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take the two of them with Maul in the lead and Savage as the second to act as that Wampa Fulcrum setup.
Oh, yeah. So like if it's just like Maul in the leadership with Savage, then they gain offense, defense, all that good fun stuff.
Unless they were going against Sidious, and then, things happen.
If Sidious is on the enemy team. This conversation between rework versus Omicron versus Datacron, you can see how incrementally it's getting more specific, right? Reworks, that's just in the game. Your character is just going to be better, hopefully. But right, the character is just better no matter where you put him. Omicron is then going to be specific to something that could be GAC, that could be Territory Wars, that could be Territory Battles. And then Datacrons are even more specific and are only around for the 3 months or whatever it is. If we keep getting like more and more and more focused on like, personally, while I get Datacrons, like it's fun to give somebody a kind of a moment in the limelight. There's some of these characters that I kind of wish that they would, make them more prominent. I think that they're worth more than just a season, a little bit of love, and maybe even not just like a boost in one area of the game. Wampa's a good example because Wampa makes sense. Wampa's cool. He's in the game. Everybody likes him, blah, blah, blah. His Omicron was nice for GAC, but like nobody was like, oh my God, I need to use Wampa in territory battles. Like, he served his purpose. That's what he was doing. Wampa was kind of this either on the bench, or maybe if it was a really bad team, you could use Wampa to solo it, CG saw that and said, all right, here's your Omicron to do what you were doing, but now better. better. And Fulcrum actually was the same way. Fulcrum you could use to solo like Old Republic teams. They saw that, took it, did the same thing with Territory Wars. So I hope they're kind of watching and they see some of these characters and the Omicron touches up on it and makes the essence of that character in the game a little bit better. I really don't want them to just have this default, like, we're not going to do anything anymore because eventually they'll be in the datacron rotation. I don't want that. I don't want that to happen to some of these characters.
Oh God, I pray they don't do that.
Yeah, like there's some of these characters that they're first order TIE pilot. He didn't need a full rework. He didn't need a full anything. They just gave him an Omicron and you're done with it. You know, if that happens with a lot of these characters, I'd be really cool with that. I think that's a healthier way than having this weird thing with datacrons going on where it's like, do I crash farm this character so I could use their datacron? You're like, no, that's Relic 7. I'm not taking somebody to Relic 7 just so I can use their datacron for a month, you know? That's not happening. Bam's a pretty solid example because I like the character, but I haven't justified taking him to Relic 7. So even though I like him and I want to, I can't yet because I have to go for Galactic Legends and I have to go for Profundity and I have to go for, you know, so to put a datacron on somebody doesn't solve the inherent problem. And I hope CG sees that. I really hope they see that.
You can go and raise Bam for your favorite game mode, which is Conquest.
I love it. It's the best.
Okay, listen, boys, I'm wearing sandals today, not boots. All right, I'm not walking in that stuff right now. I don't feel like washing my feet when we're done. I don't feel like washing my feet. All right.
The one thing that I was going to ask though is for the Omnis, I got a feeling they'll do this. The Night Sisters still cannot complete their assault battle, right?
I think only Fatal has done it. Yeah, it's been done once. Me, Fatal, and the
Hershey would have got it.
No, we were trying, but yeah, it was me, Fatal, and a good friend of mine. Her name is Desi. We were just kind of putting all of our heads together to figure out how to beat this thing, and I got extremely close several times, and then Fatal was the one who finally cracked it. As far as I know, though, that's the only person who's beaten it, and it required a Relic 9 DACA with. I mean, we were farming. This was months. We literally spent months farming the perfect mods that had the right amount of tenacity, the right amount of health secondaries, the right amount of speed. I mean, we tailored this team as perfect as we could. In every single run, we were trying to learn something like, okay, we got to have a little bit more speed here. We got to have a little bit more tenacity here. We got to have a little bit more health here. And yeah, several month process. And it was finally.
I can only imagine that coming into that Sidious part of it.
Yeah, that's what it was all about. We couldn't beat that.
That's where the whole team dies.
Yeah, you just start the wave and Sidious is already, it hasn't even loaded. Sidious is spinning. You're like, God, have mercy.
Wait a minute.
This is a war crime.
It should be against the Coruscant Convention.
Yes. Well, yes, this is against the Coruscant convention. This is, that'd have been stupid. I hate that.
And so then when they put in like the Inquisitors into the assault battles, it's not like all of a sudden we've got one more assault battle inside the calendar year. They just put it in the mix and now the calendar years just get shuffled one more time, right?
I believe so, yeah. I think they just throw it in the rotation.
I stated wholeheartedly on multiple videos where I paid on comments for Cubs and Arnold and 9C2, where if the Inquisitors came to the game, I would wail. And then I saw them show up and I went, no, I'm going to recant the snot out of that.
I'm starring my Inquisitors. I think the starring process takes a really long time for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm starring them, but I'm not putting any gear in them for a while. Second sister, I will admit, her ship is good. So having her geared, I think is fair.
Is important, but
the rest of the squad, and especially with how it was sold, this like, you can beat GLs, and you're like,
no, you can't.
I don't think I can.
I mean, and when it comes to ships, I mean, anybody that's seen my roster will tell you that I tend to lean ship heavy.
Well, at least they're not putting out a whole lot of feats with the Inquisitors and putting them multiple times in a row out there in the game, right?
Yeah, I'm really glad they're not putting them in like every other galactic challenge and, and conquest feats. And, I'm really glad they're not doing that.
Reasons I don't have new mats to take my mods past 6 dots. And
I just wish they could find a few more feats to put in with Inquisitors.
Yeah, frankly, we need like 17 more minimum, like one for every month that it takes to max a character through Proving Grounds. Inquisitors are interesting. I think they could have been handled a little bit better, but they're here. For better or worse.
Until death do us part, that's for sure.
Is this CG's wedding vow? Is that what I'm going to say?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, with Inquisitors.
I now pronounce you man and credit card.
Oh my God. You guys are right. We're just going down the path. We got to be more, what's the word I'm looking for? Optimistic.
A little bit more professional. Let's bring this back. Let's choke this in. Let's not try to go down the road of the negativity.
Got this.
But, I mean, you just mentioned that you were farming the Inquisitors, trying to just at least star them up because, I mean, that's an important step. Outside of that, what are you looking at? I mean, you're going after the profundity.
I'm wrapping up Lord Vader. All I have left is Tarkin to Relic 7 and Embo to Relic 5. Then I'm done getting Lord Vader. As soon as I finish Lord Vader, I'm going straight for profundity. I just figured as soon as they said this is kind of on the same level of Executor, I was like,
yes,
I have to get this.
Yeah, with you.
I'm like, I have to get profundity. Like, if you just imagine 2 executors in your team, I'm like, I need profundity. So
no muss.
Yeah. So I'm going straight for profundity after that. And then after that, I'll probably realistically go for Jabba, and then we'll see. I don't know. But by the time I finish profundity, it'll either be Jabba or if something else has come out.
Okay.
And yeah, that'll round out my roster to 6 GLs, both profundity and executor. And then if I get Jabba, the 7th GL as well. That's kind of my plan.
What about Starkiller?
I got Starkiller. Yep.
And then do you have the Grand Inquisitor, or he's just
not yet?
Sit there and get dusty.
That's why I'm just kind of getting the stars on the Inquisitors, but I don't know what I'm gonna get. Like, it's just it's an okay team. Like, I feel like they're not a terrible team. It's just they were sold to be way better than what they are. The realization of the reality of where they are made it hit harder, I think, because frankly, they're okay. Like, you can't just send anything against them to beat it, and they can beat quite a few teams on offense, but really they're in the category of a nice team to have, more towards the level of, I don't know, don't make it like too specific. There's just the ballpark of like a tier B. They're sort of
they're in the CLS
team, you know?
The Grievous team.
Yeah, I'd probably put them ballpark. Yeah, like a Grievous, Bounty Hunter. I think CLS is still going to be a bit above them, but yeah, that ballpark range is just like, they're nice.
Depending on the lineup on the CLS.
Yeah, they're just kind of nice. I'll get them eventually, I think, but I am not rushing for it. Absolutely not.
But I'm probably going to aim towards the profundity. I'm not going to wail to bring up Radis. I'm just going to do what I can to get there.
Relic 9.
Yeah. He's the first Relic 9 wreck. That scares me because as soon as you see it the one time, it's just going to start popping up, you know?
But like on Lord Vader, all of a sudden you saw 4 Relic 8s. They just started hitting the easy button on that one.
Oh, they definitely hit the stables button on that one.
Yeah. Which is like, again, you know, shooting themselves in the foot because like Lord Vader, he's a fine GL. I know people like to make fun of him for failing on this and that, blah, blah, blah. Like, let's be real. He's still a GL. He's still really freaking good and can do a whole bunch of stuff if you kind of mess up on him and whatnot. And I feel like they're kind of selling him, you know, with all these high relic requirements to be this like
Grand
ultimate.
Inquisitor, he could have been better.
Yeah. And so if those relic requirements were on, for example, JMK, I'd be like, this makes actually, frankly, more sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Because JMK is so good. Those relic requirements actually kind of make sense for his kit. Lord Vader, I feel like should have kind of been more on the realm of like SLKR, some relic 5s, maybe a couple relic 7s, but generally speaking, like that sort of realm.
A majority of 3s and call it a day.
Yeah.
But Lord Vader introduced the important fact that now you need lifter characters. Now we're starting to see lifter characters come around.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
That's an accurate assumption. Yeah, truth be told, who do you think SLKR is going to end up with? And
there's a couple of ways that it could go. I think the immediate easy answer for a lot of people is Snoke. I mean, obviously, you kind of raised him up.
Knights of Ren, some kind of component from the Knights of Ren.
I think a Knight of Ren would be pretty sweet because we've just never really seen him, and a lot of people have talked about it. I think that would be a nicer kind of thing for the player community because a lot of people have been like, why don't we have any Knights of Ren? It could just be a really cool way to say like, yeah, you know, we think they're cool too. And we didn't see them really in the movies or anything. So here you go.
Do we end up with the Inquisitors where it's here's all of the Knights of Ren?
Oh, like a full squad? Yo, that'd be wild actually. Like 4 of them to do like a SLKR with
to
4.
add into, you know, Kylo unmask or even, you know, masked Kylo from the
I think it could be cool.
As a lifter, but
yeah, just bringing them in. I think that could be cool. Another one that crossed my mind for a lifter, if there was some version in the same way that they, you know, brought in Ben Solo, you know, some version of Rey. Kylo and Rey obviously had their whole thing. And so I think that could poetically make, honestly, it'd be kind of cool because now what we have is SLKR and Rey were the first Galactic Legends that came out and they were like counterparts, right? They fought each other the whole time. And then now we've kind of returned back to this circle of, well, now Rey actually has Kylo as a lifter character. I think it could be poetically kind of cool if we got a Ray Lifter character for SLKR. But yeah, some type of Ren or Knight of Ren or something.
Here's my question. How do we get a Ray Lifter when we have Scavenger Ray, then we have Jedi Ray, and then we have Galactic Legend Ray? Where in that would we get a Ray? Where do we draw that distinction from?
That's a super fair question. I mean, they pulled Ben Solo, frankly, out of nowhere. I didn't really see that one coming.
He had like 5 minutes of screen time.
He got launched off a cliff and then walked up and Ray died.
Could be a Ray exile when she had that like 3 seconds in the movie when she said she wasn't going to do it anymore.
Oh, perfect. Or, yeah, that's what somebody said. No, that was the idea. I forgot about that. The dark
side Ray.
Yeah, the Empress Ray. Why not? Bring in Empress Ray, dude. The flashback when she somehow grew fangs.
That'd be a cosplay I'd like to see.
I think that'd be cool, dude. She'd have that lightsaber and, the double bladed thing that she like, flips up like that. That'd be super cool. Do that. CG. Do that. Oh my God, that'd be cool. Generally speaking, other lifters, I think this would be a perfect opportunity to bring in General Organa, lifter unit for JML.
I'd be down for that.
Oh, I get behind that every day.
I think that's a W. There hasn't been like a great Leia in the game, if we're being honest, and she's one of the most prominent characters in the universe. Like, she's really kind of the first sort of like Star Wars character that we kind of interacted with in A New Hope. We see her doing her thing and everyone's like, who's this princess? She's very important, and it kind of bums me out that her characters haven't been better in the game. So I think a General Organa who's like really good and fits with JML, because that also kind of like, some people have the argument that JKL kind of is JML's lifter, but ultimately he's truly not, like, unless until they say JKL, by the way, you guys, he's his own journey guide character. And yes, he works extremely well with JML. But if somebody said, hey, here's General Organa, so you can use JKL somewhere else, I'd be like, thank you. Amazing. Because we're kind of doing that right now. Like, you kind of do like a JKL something, then you do like JML with Cam, and it kind of works. So if General Organa was in there, I'd love that. I think that'd be super cool. And then for C, do like General Pride or something. I think that would make sense.
You could see Snoke going with C.
Snoke would actually be really interesting, because now that we know Snoke is effectively a kind of a clone / creation, you could do a lot with that. You could make his kit basically, I mean, he didn't do anything. Like he showed up, he talked, and then he died. Pulled some people around with the Force. We never saw him do anything. He never fought with the lightsaber. He never, and he died by one. He's a pretty blank slate. You could just make him be a non-combative character that basically hangs out over there and keeps C alive the whole time. Maybe it draws
distraction.
What?
Draws the distraction.
Yeah, draws a distraction. I was wondering if maybe you could incorporate something into his kit, because the main weak spot that C has right now is obviously with his link. If you go up against a solo character, there is no link. I think if they brought in Snoke and then tweaked his kit so that there's a way to do like a solo link that C could just pull from one character instead of having to link two characters. Maybe it doesn't have to be like the entwined fate thing. Maybe it's a different ability, but it's something that Snoke does that says like, whenever Snoke uses this ability, can't be dispelled, can't be prevented for the rest of the match until he puts it on someone else. And then C gains the same amount of ult charge as he would if, the people were linked. And then same thing, it saps their protection, it saps, it does all that stuff. So it's basically a solo link, if you will, because that's C's weak spot.
What if they did it this way instead of doing it that? Maybe you give the other team a summoner that can't be dispelled or something.
Oh, that'd be... Oh, dude, what if Snoke was summoned on the enemy team? He's this little like spy over there.
Yeah.
Just hangs out, messing with people. That could be kind of funny.
Because then that would block him from having a summoner. So if the Geonosians, you kill off Groot, you throw that there, they can't go and summon another one, or Mothma, but at least you get the duel, like you're saying.
That'd be an interesting mechanic. I mean, I always find, so if we pull back from like the Swiggo Star Wars universe for just a brief moment, I enjoy video games as a whole. I think they're fascinating. I think they're really fun. I never would have guessed. But I find designing games very fun. And I think it's interesting when you go into kit interactions and game interactions with one another and how you think of those. And that would be a layer of interaction, because if all of a sudden you're like, oh, let's go fight C. And then you're like, oh, wait, Snoke's there. Snoke is going to get summoned on my side, so I can no longer have a summoned ally. It just adds a layer of strategy that can be thrown out there because you lose a summon.
Or
so I think
even if you were to say
an interesting idea.
What if it was C and he had Snoke there, and then you were to go in with Wampa. That allows Snoke to be on that side, so that takes away the single.
Would it count as? I don't think it could count as an enemy unit. I don't think it would be.
It's not necessarily counting as an enemy unit, but he's at least there as the traitorous.
Oh, to like link them, you mean?
Just so that you can link the two of them to allow for that to happen.
Yeah, because then Wampa wouldn't work. Another, or if we stray away from the link thing, I think it'd be really cool if Snoke could replace Watt. Watt is extremely valuable with C right now. Everybody knows that. You bring in Watt, you throw a tank deck on him, and you can pretty much beat everybody or anything. But Watt's extremely valuable. That bonus turn at the beginning, you throw out the tech pieces elsewhere. Yeah, that'd be cool. So if Snoke shows up and like, let's say Snoke takes a bonus turn, and if C's an ally, then he has this thing that he can put on where he cleanses all of his debuffs at the beginning and recovers 30% protection.
And just like Watt takes all the damage.
I think that'd be cool. I hope this concept with Ben Solo coming in for Rey, I genuinely hope this is a sort of a cadence that we're going to see more lifters come, because I was very upset that JMK and Lord Vader had lifters and nobody else did, because GLs weren't supposed to do that. GLs were supposed to be, they're the pinnacle of their faction, but they're in their own bracket, but together.
Nobody got that rant at all.
No one got that. I think we all missed it. But yeah, so I'm glad they're returning with some of these lifters for other tunes to elevate all the GLs, because I don't like this division in Galactic Legends. I think it's silly.
I'm trying to think of with like AML, what type of mechanic the lifter would bring, and maybe something that interacts with an attack out of turn. So when he does his either his special or the one that he gives to everybody else.
I would do two things immediately come to mind. The biggest weakness for JML is TMR. His kit is very susceptible to TMR, and that makes it possible for even EP Vader to beat JML. If you can get your TM train rolling on him, JTR beats it. Not the full squad, but like you can use JTR to clean up a JML because you can ability block him and hit him with the TMR and everything. So I think
you throw in a General Organa, and then you add in, I know I changed my hairs, the unique, and you have TMR.
Even if it's something as simple as if Jedi Master Luke is an ally, he is immune to turn meter reduction. I think that would help his kit a ton. And something where if Jedi, what's it called? Jedi Lessons, I think is that ability. Whatever the little coin thing is, I'm pretty sure it's Jedi Lessons. But I would say whenever that is used, his ultimate is whenever an ally gains Jedi Lessons, he gains 8% ultimate charge. So if you give it to somebody who doesn't have it, 2 people get it. That's 16% ultimate charge. I think you could throw in something where like if General Leia Organa was an ally, maybe not double, but you gain an additional, I don't know, 5% or something like that, you know, just help him get his ultimate charge quicker. Or like every time any ally gains Jedi Lessons, General Leia Organa also gains Jedi Lessons. I think that'd be the easiest way to do it, because then it guarantees that you gain another 8%.
Stacking.
Yeah. So then instead of 8% from one person and another, you now have 3 that would get it every time. So you'd go from 16% ultimate to 24% ultimate charge, and that adds up. So I think something you can make it relatively simple. It addresses some of the problems of JML's kit. SLKR is another one. He doesn't have too many weaknesses apart from his health, in my personal opinion. I think if SLKR, maybe his lifter could do something like that, like providing a big health boost to him, a survivability boost. I think that's kind of what he needs. Or if it were like Empress Rey, then dish out a crap ton of damage. And I think that'd be really cool. He does it already, but he has to ramp. Maybe Empress Rey could shorten that instead of having it be so long to ramp up.
I bet she would. Sorry.
She's not going to shorten anything. I mean,
oh, she's definitely going to extend, but it's going to get short pretty quick after.
So when did Extends become a sponsor of this video?
Cut commercial. Yeah, lifters are an interesting concept. I'm glad they're coming back to them.
So what you're trying to say is Princess Leia in the midriff is a lifter.
And so is Padme with the midriff. It's Princess Leia in the gold bikini.
Oh, God.
Listen, we've had a lot of fun tonight. You know, it's been a wonderful time, Gridan, having just general conversation before and during the stream. I can't thank you enough for coming on and joining us tonight.
Yeah.
I got to say.
Pleasure's been all mine.
I'm really glad you reached back out.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate you reaching out and sending a message out there, man.
Yeah.
And hey, I'll tell you guys what. Would you guys happen to be doing something next Friday?
What time?
Maybe 10 p.m. Eastern?
I might be open.
I can make myself available. I can absolutely make myself available for that.
We'd love to have you guys on as a guest, both of you guys, if you could, for the Gridsy session.
Cool.
Now, this week, we already have our guest set up, but next week if you guys are interested. We'd love to have you guys on. I got so excited. Jinx got so excited he knocked over my light. If it works for you guys' schedule, we'd love to have you on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, this has been awesome, you guys. It's been a great time. I really appreciate you guys inviting me on.
Any words of wisdom there, sir?
From me?
Gridsy?
Swingo stuff. Word of wisdom, you guys. Try and enjoy the game. Have some fun. Farm what you want to farm. There's a way to look at this game very analytically, very blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, it's a really fun Star Wars game that we all enjoy that has some problems. Try and have some fun with it. Look out for each other. Life's short. Have some fun. Play a game. I don't know. Have a beer. Whatever.
Beer.
EOD, what's your words?
Well, as always, my Raider fam, keep your powder dry.
Powder dry. My words, be your own lifter.